Shell.
And hello to all you other wonderful readers watching.
Okay, so I've just hit chapter 8, so I'm 46 pages in to my, I should probably put the cover back onto it, because otherwise that's just going to look very weird. So I've resolved my bookmark problem of not having a bookmark by putting a pencil in here, because I got to chapter 4 realising I need to start underlining stuff. And also by chapter 4 I had emotional whiplash, and I am still getting emotional whiplash because it's so the end of chapter 2 I was sobbing. It was so sad, and I was laughing through the beginning of chapter 3. That is just two extremes, and it just feels so weird. So yeah, but this is just like so sad. So we've got Louisa, who is basically broke into an art gallery just to see a painting that she had a postcard of that she stole from the fridge of one of her foster homes. We kind of learn that she actually was the person who wrote on the back of it, inventing a memory, because when the police came to tell her that they finally found her mother, to cheer Louisa up, her friend Fish took her, like, they broke into a movie, and she realises that the lullaby that she remembers her mother singing to her was actually a memory of her watching the TV, because her mother just left her in front of the TV for so long. It was so heartbreaking, that bit at the end of chapter 2. But it was also very beautiful, just Fish's friendship with her, because Fish is just like reassuring her, going, that is still a valid memory. That is your memory. If you choose that to be your memory, that is your memory. And it is so sweet, but also very like, this is the life Louisa has had, and it's incredibly heartbreaking. And Louisa and Fish are the best friends in the world, and it is so heartbreaking us finding out why. The worst part is, it's in chapter 1 we found out that Fish is no longer with her as well, because when she turned 18, she was an adult and couldn't be in the foster care system, so she went off. But just like, they were telling Louisa about how Fish died by her own doing, but Louisa thinks otherwise. Fish was murdered by reality. She was suffocated by the claustrophobia of being trapped on this planet. She died of being sad all the time. And it's just, this is how gut-wrenching I'm feeling right now. This is like sucker punched to the face with feelings, and yet it's still so hilarious because of the way Louisa gets kicked out of this art gallery. It's so cartoonish, mixed in with the bonkers of the Umbrella Academy in a way. Like when in that one episode in series 1 with the ice cream truck, like that scene, if you know what I'm talking about. It screams like bonkers, and that is what it is. It is hilarious, but it's like still quite grounded in it. It's just like, I cried on this page and I laughed on this page. It's just so it's so out there, and it's just like, so Louisa gets thrown out. That doesn't happen very often, actually, because most people who get thrown out are in fact led out, or perhaps dragged out. But Louisa isn't like everyone else, so she leaves the church in the air. And the way she got there is so funny. You just only Backman can pull this off. Like, it's just so funny because she's just drew a little fish on the wall next to the painting that she went there to see, because it's the painting that was on the postcard that she's carrying around and holding this memory, and she was promised fish that they would go together to see this painting in real life. So she's just overcome with emotion, and that's why she draws the fish on the wall. She has to do it, and she's surrounded by rich people doing the usual stuff. And yeah, there is like a whole thing about the art world. Like, I was actually very nervous going into this because usually books about art, like, I've read The Doll Factory and it didn't quite get it. It didn't quite get the feeling I get about art. And it's, but this does. I'm only 46 pages in, and I'm already confident Backman can like transport me to the art world, whilst also simultaneously giving me what it feels like to lose yourself into a painting and why you lose yourself into a painting. And it's not that he's already described somebody painting, it's just, why do we paint? It's brilliant. And the artist who painted said painting, just going through the rich people will ask, oh, what's your inspiration? And he kind of doesn't want to give the real answer because they don't want to think about why, the real reason. They just want something decorative to put up in their beach homes. But the real answer is like really heartbreaking, and it's just like, this is the only time I get to be me and not hate myself. And it's just like, because when I paint, I zone out. I remember zoning out so much when I was like in school. So in school, in sixth form, in university, when I was doing art, I zoned out. There was no world. And it's just that moment of just peace where you get to work through whatever it is you're working through, and just feeling that. As I feel like Bachman can actually write an artist, whereas when I was reading The Doll Factory, I mean, some artists could see themselves in that, but not me. I just couldn't. I also hated that book for other reasons, but but this is like phenomenal so far. 46 pages of just emotional whiplash. I yeah. Also, I need to shout out that this was translated by Neil Smith. Did a bang up job. Oh, I am enjoying this book so far, even if I am crying multiple times. I've already cried like several times. Like, tear at my heart and stamp on it. Sure. In fact, I'll handle it. I'll happily cut it out and put it on the floor so you can stamp on it. That's how. Oh, it's so effective at ripping my heart out. But anyway, so far so good.
So my parents took me to the Lake District for 2 days, which was absolutely phenomenal, and I absolutely adored the place. I've never been to the Lake District before. It is just like 90-ish miles to the west, and you just cut through all of the mountains in the middle, and then you get to the lakes, and it's mountains around lakes, and it is absolutely gorgeous. We started off in Pooley Bridge, and there's this amazing little bookshop cafe that was brilliant. I ended up buying a few books and included a short story collection that I might use for the spooky season because it's all about witches. but we went on a boat across the lake, which is an hour there and an hour back. Went for a little walk whilst we were at the little town on the other side of the lake, and got a nice little few clips of the mountains and the lake and a bit of wildlife. It is spectacularly beautiful. And when we were there, we had a little bit of a wander, had a bit of a shop, and got to see more of the boats pass by. I found a nice little trail walk that goes along the lake and was set just above the water so you could look down through the trees. I often find myself being drawn down paths into nature, especially paths that look as though they go on and on and on. I feel like I've just found the most helpful tree that I'm pretty sure is very kind to people that's climbing up this hill. That looks like a very weird branch, but I think it wanted to let people sit down, because that is steep, very steep. I kind of want to sit on that tree now. It's just inviting, right? Actually, from this angle, it looks like something else. Never mind. The next day, my parents took me to Keswick to the chocolate shop, then went on to see Lowther Castle. The castle itself was dismantled and turned into a farmland, and only recently there's been an effort to restore the castle to its former self. But at the moment, it's still overgrown in places, which gives it an enchanting feeling as you wander around the ruins. The grounds are vast and also hold many surprises for adventurers. From rose gardens and overgrown huts, there is so much of the grounds to explore. There's also a woodland area with a giant castle that's made just for kids to roam around and play, and it is amazing. One of those surprises was tree swings, which I absolutely enjoyed myself. I found the perfect spot to continue reading my friends and have more emotional whiplash. That's it from me this week. Bye, Shal, and to all you other wonderful weirdos watching, have an amazing weekend.